And the FDA is responsible not only for regulating, but for ensuring the safety of this industry. And you might notice that I'm laughing here because my reaction is safety. Ha, ha. So circling back to the European formulas for a second, the FDA tells us that European formulas aren't FDA labeled. So because they're not FDA labeled, they're not safe. They pose potential risks for babies. They're dangerous. Yeah, because their labels are in a different language, FDA. Okay. But let's look here for a second at what the FDA has done here in the United States to ensure the safety of the baby formula industry. Essentially, once a manufacturer, a business has broken into the baby formula industry, they conduct very poor routine inspections that miss unsafe conditions in the plants. And I'm not saying this hypothetically, I'm not saying this vaguely. At the Sturgis plant in Michigan, the Abbott Nutrition plant, it had been 2 years since the FDA inspected the plant. They're required to do so at least on an annual basis, but it had been 2 years since they had inspected the plant at all. This is according to a Politico report. I want to read this to you. Politico says the September inspection report cited the Sturgis plant for not being in clean and sanitary condition. There was standing water in a few places in the facility. One employee was observed not washing hands or changing gloves after touching non-food contact surfaces, but there were no major red flags, and the inspection got classified as what's known as a VAI, or voluntary action indicated, which means Abbott Nutrition could voluntarily address the issues according to inspection logs. The September inspection report did not say anything about dryer deterioration. When FDA inspectors went back late in January, however, officials observed that the plant had a history of internal deterioration for dryers dating back to 2018, citing the plant's own records. The agency noted that the company's records showed that in August 2021, dryer inspections found 6 instances of cracks and pits in the main chamber for one dryer, and several other cracks and damages were observed. Further specifics were redacted. The inspection documents didn't comment on the current conditions of the dryers in question. So let me interrupt myself for 1 second. So the dryer deterioration issue in these plants is really critical because most baby formula comes in powdered form, meaning it has to be dried out. But the bacteria that can sometimes contaminate baby formula happens if these dryers have deterioration. If there's a place for the bacteria to live, a place for the bacteria to grow, a place for the bacteria to get into the dried powdered formula product. So dryer deterioration is a really big deal in the baby formula manufacturing industry. Not a huge deal, a critical safety issue, and the FDA didn't find this, overlooked this, didn't do their due diligence. Politico goes on, the FDA's most recent inspection, which spanned from late January to mid-March, observed many other problems that were absent from the agency's routine inspection just 4 months earlier. There were many more examples of water problems. Officials noted there had been more than 300 water events, such as leaks, condensation, and standing water in the production area in the past year, per the company's own records. They also observed that plant workers had improper protective apparel, among other issues. Perhaps most crucially, the agency found records suggesting that the plant had destroyed some formula product after it had tested positive for Chronobacter on 2 separate occasions, in September 2019 and June 2020. The report also noted that the company had found the bacteria inside the plant a number of other times. FDA inspectors themselves found 5 different strains of Chronobacter in several locations of the plant when they returned in early 2022. So you might be thinking, okay, well, it sounds like the FDA found all of these things. Well, wait a second. The FDA was notified in October of last year by probably an employee at this plant. It was a whistleblower, so their privacy is protected, by a whistleblower who sent dozens and dozens of pages of evidence and proof to substantiate the allegations, sent that to the FDA in October. This is really critical information that could impact the safety of babies across our country. What did the FDA do? Nothing in October. Nothing in November. It wasn't until December that they interviewed the whistleblower. They interviewed the whistleblower in December, and then it wasn't until January 31st that they actually sent an inspector to Sturgis again. So received the report in October, nothing in October, nothing in November, interviewed the whistleblower in December. The very last day of January, they sent an inspector, and it was only during that inspection when they realized, oh bleep, something's going on here, that they actually did a thorough inspection. So this same FDA that tells us that European formula is unsafe, there are risks involved with it, it could harm your child, it might be dangerous. Are you kidding me? This type of behavior is supposed to give us confidence in the FDA. This is beyond corruption.